In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, Andrea Monson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, a live stream and podcast. It's okay, it's just Mrs. M in the hairdryer. I just wondered what that high-pitched whine was in the distance. It's not me. Although the jury might be out on that. Good morning to you. How are you this morning? Good morning, T-Duck. Sorry I didn't get a chance to respond. It's been quite busy here this morning, but just it seems to be a general air of busyness. Not the quiet start to the new year. Some may be experiencing all systems go here at the GMP HQ and Casa Munson. So sorry not to get back to you this morning, T-Duck, but fantastic what you've set up for us. You've laid the table, lucky table this morning. James is in as well. Coach Turner with a slightly sore head, perhaps, but maybe out skipping later on today. He's like Monty Python meets the Green Goddess, isn't he? Quite an extraordinary vision that would be if you grew up in the UK in the 70s. Thank you for the Hugo Nunu then and the Portuguese saying of the day, T-Duck. Really interesting who knew Hugo Nunu today. And yeah, we might dwell on that and get your theories as to why it might be that Portuguese women tend, on average, to last 6 years longer than men with life expectancy. Why would that be? Cátia Lima is a great person to ask. She is our guest at 8:31. No, she's not. You are my guests at 8:34. She's here at 9 o'clock, of course, and from 9:30 we're heating up that hotline. Amazing calls from Liverpool, from Barry White, from was it Barry White? Somebody recommending Earth, Wind and Fire. What a great start to the day that is, as well. The suggestion of playing September. That's always a great start to the day. I would do that right now if that wouldn't get me into trouble. On YouTube. Bally's here, GMP VIP. She's earned it. I will send you your certificate sometime soon, Bally, as well, for you to proudly display in the in central Portugal over there. How's your boiler this morning? Have you sorted out yet? Bon dia, sunny day ahead, and looking forward to the show, says Bally. Is that you? Oh, have we not got Mike? What's happening? Are you not hearing me? Terrible sound, wrong mic. Oh, okay, thank you. You know, it did occur to me to check that this morning, and you're absolutely right. A terrible microphone is what I've been using for the first part of the show. Yes, and I think we're okay now. Thank you very much for that. Wrong mic, terrible sound. Close your legs, Carl. There is a terrible echo. Oh, naughty. And today, thank you very much for that, Jilly Mamsh. Smith, that's a nice Portuguese-British combo. I'm guessing there. That is so much better. Some of you, I think, were ready to just. Oh, thank you very much, Yes, T-Duck. Good. That's a great way of communicating. Thank you very much for that. And for Andy, another GMP VIP. Thank you very much, Andy. Today marks 1 week in Portugal. How's it going, Andy? Do you want to jump onto the show? You can call in into Europe's biggest phone-in from 930-913-590-303. It'd be great to talk to you. And episode 20 of your travelogue videos we are anticipating with great anticipation and looking forward to hearing episode 20 from you, the one based in Portugal, of course. And yeah, congratulations to you from Pete. You may know him as Solar Life Portugal. That's Pete there with YouTube channel Solar Life Portugal. Not another Andy. Yes, don't let that put you off, Andy Klein. It's the other Andy that we're politely suggesting he might give it a rest today. But then again, who knows? He's not desperate, keen. He's keen as mustard to join the show and has done for most mornings so far in the early history. I think he's keen to tell his grandchildren that he was here and show them the certificates. See what I did there? It's ready, episode 20. Fantastic. Okay, Andy, please pop the link into the chat as well, and then people can go straight there after the show. Okay, Deagle's just in as well, reporting in. Jilly, what brings you here? Lovely to see you. I think you may have joined us once or twice before, not a regular, but maybe you could make that a habit. And bon dia, Lion H is with us again this morning. Great to see you. Thank you very much for being here. So yes, Cátia Lima joins us at around 9 with cold cures, Portuguese cold cures, the sort of thing that a Portuguese avó, grandmother might give you if you're not feeling the May West very well. Folk cures. And I use the word cure very advisedly with the little bunny ears, inverted commas, because far be it from me, or far be it that Cátia and I, we're certainly not epidemiologists, rocket scientists, climatologists, or anything like that. She is speaking about her experience and research on the matter. Isn't it terrible that we have to disclaim in this way? We're not suggesting that if you do any of the things Cátia suggests, you will suddenly become better. You might, but we could not possibly take any credit for that because we're not doctors. And wouldn't it be terrible to be promoting things publicly that we suggest did make people better, might stop them catching viruses, etc., which may turn out not to be true? That would be awful, wouldn't it? Couldn't have that. Okay, so Anna G is also here this morning. Good morning from Austria. A little bit of a round of applause for me there from Anna G, and some flowers. How lovely. Careful with those flowers. Don't. Is that one hand clapping or two there, Anna G? Great to see you here this morning. Thank you very much. Two Andys as well who make videos. Ooh, spooky. And good morning, Carlos. Is that from the other Carlos? Is that from Owen, I wonder? Do you know that Scouse fellow who called in yesterday, Owen, by the way? I forgot to ask him if he had any nice DVDs for sale. Yeah, and the player. We might use to watch them as well. It was great. Really good day on Europe's Biggest Phone-In yesterday. And we can do that again at 9:30 this morning. Mrs. M is coming in. That's why everything's shaking here, including me. Let's put her camera on show. Oh, I'm going to share the weather. We haven't done that for ages, have we? The GMP HQ weather. So I'm going to pop that onto the screen for you to have a look at. And I forgot, I also feature Windy, a weather app service as well, with all the pretty colors on it, which I still don't quite understand. But isn't that pretty? You can see the weather patterns or the air currents. Is that? I don't know. Please, if you're a meteorologist, do decode that for us there. But we can certainly see Portugal in the middle there, which tells us that in Lisbon there are 11 degrees of the centigrade, and we will scroll through those in just a minute. I think I was going to show you something else as well, but I forget now. Anyway, main thing is we've got some beautiful sound. Gilda is here. Look. Good morning, Carl. Catching up before going to work. Hello, Gilda. How are you this morning? How lovely to see you there. Looking at us from your LinkedIn profile, we do, of course, stream onto LinkedIn, and I wonder what people think of that. When they're trying to be serious and progressing their careers over there, and then we come on with all our smutty innuendo and that sort of thing. Who doesn't like a bit of smutty innuendo in the workplace? HR, that's who. They do not like smutty innuendo in the workplace, and quite right too. Okay, adding a camera. Can I bring you onto the screen, Mrs. M?
Sure.
Here she is. I just knew there was something missing from my screen this morning. There she is. Great to see you, Gilda. Thank you for being here. And Chris Smith. Chris is here as well this morning. Bon dia, Carl. And Gumpers, how you doing, Chris? And feel free. I know you're involved in some bluegrass action over there in the US. Do feel free to promote that as well. We'd like to keep in touch. It is Indie Thursday, a bit understated and underplayed this morning, but Thursday is the day where we like to feature the indie scene of Portugal, the unsung non-corporate businesses who struggle maybe to get a bit of publicity. What with the way Portuguese people market things as well. Must be very difficult running a business in the first 25 years here and getting some publicity. So if you're doing anything around the world and you're of an indie disposition, we haven't got a massive marketing budget or the support of Coca-Cola or a mattress company like we do, maybe, then we'll sing your praises for you on the show in the morning, including Cátia Lima's Beyond Lisbon blog, which I commend to you and to which we'll be referring to more after 9 o'clock. In Portuguese, our ancestors said,
I love this. It's
to
so
heal
cool.
a cold or a fever, a vinhete. Go on, Mrs. M.
A vinheta, a bifeta, a bafeta. That sounds great, doesn't it?
It does. A
Get
vinhete, a
wine, get a
bifete,
stick. It does sound like one of their
A
songs
wimba
that
wi-
you'd
oh.
hear at one of their festivals.
Oh, with a bit of pimba in the background.
Yeah,
With a bit of
or,
an accordion.
Yeah, yes. It sounds like the start of a folk song. I love it.
I think that's fantastic as well, isn't it? Get wine. But as I said, Mrs. M, before, we are not in a position of making recommendations or telling people that anything
No,
can
I loved how you did that.
stop them from getting an
Yes.
infection, because that would be so wrong, especially if it turned out to be untrue. It means get wine, get a steak, and stay warm under the blanket. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's star that so that Cátia can see that when
Yeah.
she joins us a bit later on. Okay. Yeah, we understood that to be steak as in meat rather than a vampiric execution, I think. Unless it didn't mean. No, okay. Some people are thinking get a steak and they've gone down to their local DIY shop or Leroy Merlin.
You know, some people believe that when you get ill, it's because you've got some kind of entity, like you've not protected your body very well.
And in some ways they're right, aren't they?
Yeah, like something has come into your system.
Yes. Well, yes, these things get carried through the culture, don't they, to mean things that people want them to mean. I was walking on water the other day. I was down at Salir de Porto. The sea had gone out a long way. And I was with the dogs. It felt like I was walking across the whole bay back to San Martino de Porto. And I was thinking to myself, if someone could see me from the distance, they would think I was walking on water here. And I felt quite good about that, I have to say, because of the other historical and biblical character who did the same thing. And all it takes, isn't it, is for someone, or maybe two or three people, to say, look, he looks like he's walking on water. Next thing you know, when it's reported in the next village, he was walking on water. And it just goes with the territory, doesn't it? If somebody, if you want to believe something about somebody, you will bring the evidence together to support that. And I'm sure many of these things aren't literally true, but they have a truth about them.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. Okay, Bayard. Bon dia todos from a fantastical Bayarda. Luis Pato's been at it again, Andy. He has been making wine for his grandchildren. Isn't that a lovely gift from a grandfather?
Yeah.
Presumably he makes them, oh, no, maybe not. A vinhete. Is it medicine for the kids?
Who knows? Who knows? But we had a lovely time when we spent the afternoon at Luis Pato, didn't we?
We did. We had a great time over there.
It's such a beautiful sort of energy.
Yes. And Pete, Solion H sounds like amazing advice, and your English blows my pathetic Portuguese out of the water. Not walking on water; they're being blown out of the water by some Portuguese.
I find it quite interesting how Sirloin H looks like sirloin as well.
I've always thought that Sirloin H as well. Should we have a look at this weather while we've got it on the screen? Might as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
If you've got a window, just open it, as they say on Good Morning Vietnam.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's what.
I should watch that movie.
Yeah,
given that we're Good Morning Portugal, I've never seen Good Morning Vietnam, and I don't think I've watched the Blues Brothers all the way through. Never really concentrated during Star Wars. I've got a lot of catching up to do, haven't I?
I'll tell you the film I think we should all watch at the moment, that is Demolition Man.
Really?
Yeah. Because
is that the prequel to Bob the Builder?
No.
Okay. Right.
No, but it talks about it's set in 2030 and how they think that people are going to be living in 2030, and obviously it's a film. And
we're not far off then.
No, we're not far off. But it's quite amusing. There was some piece that I saw in the paper, or a snippet of paper, must have been on like Twitter or something.
Yes.
About schools saying there's absolutely not to be any contact between girls and boys.
Is this in Demolition Man or in the papers today?
In Demolition Man, people aren't allowed to touch each other. It's forbidden.
In case they get germs. Is that right?
I have no idea. But
pregnant,
it's a very... and all pregnancies have to be pre-arranged.
Sanctioned by the state?
Yeah.
Well, luckily there's no signs of that at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. And thank you. This is great. Got a lovely. I will get to that weather, but I just love that. I'm quite mesmerised by what we see on the screen. Aren't you?
Sorry.
The lovely autumnal colours that we can see.
Yes, the colours are really lovely.
I don't know what they mean.
Well, there's a little temperature gauge at the bottom. which has got the colour chart on. So presumably the winds coming in are up to 20 degrees, between 11 and 20
Who
degrees.
doesn't like a 20-degree wind in the morning? Now, look at this. The words on the screen are nothing to do with what's being shown on the screen.
No.
Thank you, Prince Harry, for expanding.
Maybe it's time to take the weather off.
Or do the weather and come back to
Yeah.
Prince Harry's Todger in just a moment.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let me do that right now then. Lisbon, 10 degrees, which is 50 in the Fahrenheit. Double it and add 30, Mrs. M. So would you like to do Porto's Fahrenheit in that case?
Hang on. Sorry,
or would you
what
like
did
me
say?
to double it and add 30?
Which one am I looking at?
Porto.
No. The
Can you see it?
why are there two temperatures?
Because for Lisbon, I've done it in bilingual. There we've got
No. In Porto, what's the
What?
12 degree?
Oh,
and
that's
what's
the
6
high.
degree?
The high today. The predicted high of
Ah.
12, currently 6, and starting off at 6.
So the high is 54.
Do you know? I'm going to train you how to do this weather this morning because I think this should be one of your jobs.
How
Now, I'm not being
very
sexist.
sexist.
Well, how very sexy, I would say, and you can take that as a compliment, or you can be offended. It's up to you. That I think that's the proper 1970s sort of retort to get your ass here to work, isn't it? So it's up to you. I meant it as a compliment.
I'm not that interested by
right.
the weather, to be fair, because I just think in Portugal you need to just
Open a window.
yeah,
Like
you
in
need
Good
to
Morning
open.
Vietnam.
You do actually need to open a window because until
For
you've
all
got your
sorts of reasons.
well
Feijoada,
until you've got your shutters open, you can see the color of the sky.
which we haven't.
You have no idea what the weather's going to be like, and even then, it's often much cooler in the house than it is outside. So you should really just go outside.
Forget it. Let's just not do the weather
and be
then.
prepared
All
for
right, not doing the weather now.
4 seasons in one day.
Not doing it. Not doing it. No. Forget it. Maybe that's
Okay.
why we don't do the weather very often. Thank
maybe.
you, Prince Harry, then. This is far more interesting, isn't it? No, Prince Harry, no, not to me. Anyway,
Go on, read the whole comment.
thank you, Prince Harry, for expanding my British vocabulary. That's not a euphemism. I don't think. And referring to your... Who doesn't like to have their British vocabulary expanded first thing in the morning? And referring to your Todger in your new book. I have, whilst on Twitter, I have pressed the occasional play button to hear him reading his own book and talking about putting Elizabeth Arden cream on his Todger. And I think...
What?
Yes, I think this is to do with an injury, not to do with pleasure.
Yes, because Elizabeth Arden cream.
Yes.
Elizabeth Arden cream is well known for therapeutic
Taking away
properties.
wrinkles. It gets rid of wrinkles,
What?
doesn't it? I think so. It was some advice that he'd been given by a lady. Now, why she would know about that, I don't know. Maybe she was thinking of her eye bags and was thinking of the trans.
Do you know what? Why are people interested in?
Well, we're doing it. We're talking about it right now. Should we get rid of it? The context for this is Nom de Plume was very grateful to you for introducing you to the word minge, and now she knows Todger as well.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I think she's going to have a great holiday in the UK when she goes.
Please do let us know your preferred euphemisms for parts of the body.
Don't do that. No, don't do that. I'm as interested in that as I am in Prince Harry. So please don't. So I was just simply putting that on the screen. And there you go, Nom de Plume. Your British vocabulary has
expanded.
Officially expanded, unlike Prince Harry's Todger. And depending on which part of the book you're reading. Olá todos from Wayne. Muito sonho Algarve hoje. Very good. Sunny day in the Algarve.
Oh, we had a lovely sunny afternoon in SMDP, didn't we? It was really lovely.
Yes, and some of us had quite the boozy afternoon in the SMDP. Our meetup was great yesterday. Lots of people turned up.
There was lots of real sort of authentic sharing going on yesterday.
Wasn't there just?
Yeah.
And then stragglers until well after 6, after the sun had gone down. Children were playing on the beach and on the green there. It was fantastic. Like a little scene from yesteryear, wasn't it? With drunken adults and kids playing with lighters. Actually, the kids did find a lighter on the beach. Yeah, but there was no gas in it. But they were able to make sparks. Isn't that fun? and ask silly questions like, do you think I'll be able to set this block of wood alight that I've just found on the beach? Like you do when you're a kid.
Yeah.
So I said, no, but if you get some lint, speak to Nuno Mendes, the scoutmaster. He'll show you what to do. Yeah. Ooh, a nice sirloin steak. Yum. Says James this morning. So Sir Lion will forever be seen as sirloin in this community, I think. It's like in the cartoon, isn't it, where Tom is looking at Jerry, or is it the other way around, and sees a roasted bird in the oven.
Yeah.
So stop looking at sirloin H like that, everybody. Wine, look at this. All it takes is the mention of a sirloin. Wine and steak with a cold doesn't sound very nice, to be honest. Okay, so let's make sure that we hear from Cátia and listen to her, because it might be that these cures work coincidentally. They cannot take any credit because they haven't been researched by medical people, as far as I'm aware. So if they work, it's a complete coincidence. But wouldn't that be a bonus?
I did see a meme. It may well have been on your timeline, but I saw a meme of somebody with a bowl of soup, obviously in Portugal.
Oh, yes.
Somebody with a bowl of soup pouring wine into it.
Yeah, that's on our food and wine club. Well, that's how apparently that's what they're saying in that meme, is that's how wine is added to soup, is while it's on the table in front of you. Now, in that way, I'm presuming it's not hot enough. It's not boiling to evaporate the alcohol. And maybe that's exactly the idea. And the guy in the picture did look a little bit bemused, I think. So I don't know what was actually going on there. Excuse me. If you were the gentleman in the picture, do phone in to Europe's biggest phone in from 913 on 913-590-303 from 9:30. This is somebody I think who is setting themselves up to call in. From California later on. They're Facebook users, so they're not blowing their cover when they call in on the phone in. And I think it might be an "I'll be back" kind of vibe.
Very cool.
And
Sounds
Arnold
great.
Schwarzenegger calls us a little bit later on today. That's cool, isn't it? Wine-soaked bifana that we have every Monday morning is just out of this world and would cure virtually any ailment. So I'm prepared to give it a try. That's what Pete says, isn't it? Oh, go on then. Give us the wine-soaked bifana. Why not? With my Café con Chalinho. That sounds like a nice institution to be a part of, Pete. Over there in central Portugal. Need to start like Robin Williams. It would be rude to even try and emulate, would it not, Robin Williams? Although there does come a time when you want to stand on a chair, like in Dead Poets Society, and rouse a crowd like that. But I must watch Good Morning Vietnam. Is that the film with the three seashells?
I can't remember what the three seashells actually stands for.
Right.
In Demolition Man, but they have three seashells.
Okay. That's not Good Morning Vietnam. It's Demolition Man. Okay.
Yeah.
And is it the one with frostbite on his todger?
I think that's Prince Harry.
Oh, okay.
That might have been why he was
Elizabeth Arden.
Yeah.
Yes. Arden. Here's my favourite euphemism. She's on a roll this morning. A cookadoo. Now, do we think that's the male or female euphemism there? Could be either, I think.
Yeah, I've not heard of that as a...
But I might try it later with a cookadoo as I walk into the room with you, Mrs. M.
Okay.
She's not said no, everybody. Did you notice that? She didn't say no, don't you dare. She said okay. Don't like euphemisms. Yes,
no, I'm with you, Ava. I prefer to call things penises and vaginas.
Whether they're penises or vaginas or not.
No. I think you should just call them what they are.
Okay.
I think
yeah,
maybe...
but he's making a joke here, you see. I don't like euphemisms. Call a spade, whether it's a big royal spade or a little common trowel. Is that a euphemism for my big royal spade?
Who knows?
Or your common trowel?
Come on, let's keep...
Not male, the cookadoo. Okay, the weather is variable. It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very variable.
Hence our endless fascination for it, I think. Now, for real, when you have a cold here, you go for Benuron or Brufen. It's true, isn't it? Thereby, I think, starving the body of some of its natural urges, right, with the old anti-inflammatories. I was talking to somebody actually about chronic pain yesterday, and they were at their wits' end with it, so much so, and they're unable to get their traditional medication here in Portugal. So they've been using an app that now reckons or puts forward the theory that dealing with chronic pain in the mind may be the way forward with meditation. And it sounds like the turning of a new corner in chronic pain management. It sounds amazing, and that there are emotional issues. This is a medical app, and now considering the fact that there might be emotional issues underlying chronic pain. Can you believe that?
Of course, I can believe that. I mean, I just think it's amazing that finally medicine is caught up. There will be
what took you so long?
There'll be people from Indian traditions, Chinese traditions,
laughing and scoffing at us.
Yeah, loads of people, Tibetan,
laughing
all
at the funny people who smell of dairy products. Yes, indeed. Well done for catching up, Western world, with your progressive modernism. Right, Carl, That was sirloin steak. Sirloin steak, I mean. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Yes, very good. And echinacea, vitamin C and zinc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dare anyone mention ivermectin? Not me, because I don't want to cause that kind of trouble here. Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Carlito. Who is that? Sounding like Frank now, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does sound like
Okay.
Frank.
All the local old men pour their red wine into their soup. Oh, so it does happen. Along with the cafe with a sniff, the aguardente, cafe con chirino, and port. I've no idea why they drive their tractors or how they drive their tractors afterwards. Oh my God. Can we get video of that, of all those guys leaving the cafe? No, actually, no, we don't want to name and shame in that way. But I'd love to see their driving patterns and driving behavior there. Un ditado popular do norte, abafate, bifate, e avinhete, explicação abafate, agasalhate, I'm making a right old mess of this, aren't I? And I'm extra embarrassed because Cátia is already in the green room watching this unfold in front of her ears and eyes. I'm so sorry. E para a cama de preferência, bifate alimentate bom bife, avinhete bebe bom vinho. Okay, Mrs. M, over to you. What did that all mean?
Well, I'm not entirely sure, and I'm sure Kat is going to be going, "Oh my God!" But I think it's like a little ditty from the north.
Yeah.
What's a buffeter? Like wrap up, like wrap yourself in a blanket, have the beef, drink the wine, like wine yourself.
Yes.
You've taken it off now, so I can't even see it. Where's it gone?
Oh, sorry, I've moved on.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, very rude.
Carry on.
A gazaliate. I don't know what that means, but like go to your room, like go to your room to rest. I would imagine.
Really?
I don't know.
That sounds like parental, not grandparental advice.
I
Go
have
to
no
your room
idea.
immediately. Okay.
But why don't you star that, and then we can come back to that
We
when Cátia's on. That's
certainly will, because
better.
there is another question I want to put forward to you, Mrs. M, which is all part of the Ugo Nuno this morning.
What's that?
What meditation can be? Yes, weird, isn't it? You hippies that have been right all along. What are you like? Gerald-shaped box is here this morning. That is a euphemism as well.
Gerard-shaped box.
As a Gerard, I do beg your pardon, Gerard-shaped box. Now, that could also be for Nom de Plume to write down in her list of euphemisms there, a Gerard-shaped box. And you've been dobbed in.
What
You
for?
have been reported for not using a Good Morning Portugal.
That's because we've only got one.
We have to share in her defense. And what's this? It's used in place of toilet paper, but they don't explain how. Which of our comments?
The seashells in Demolition Man.
That sounds like it could hurt. And you would definitely need some Elizabeth Arden on your starfish after that. Carry on.
The funny thing is, we were talking about toileting yesterday, weren't we?
We were, bidets.
And
Well, we've got the authority on bidets with us as well as cold
that's
cures.
really, really good.
Incredible. If you've got any bidet questions, we could be diverted into the bidet department this morning, because Cátia's written a master work on that, I think, in her illustrious blogging career too. What's this? Market, not market. Spell check. What's this? But pharmaceutical companies haven't figured out a way to patent meditation.
Yeah.
I bet they have.
I mean,
buy new Meditax.
Meditax. There are different patented machines that you can use. In fact, we've got one at home that flashes lights in a particular pattern and also little tones in your ear.
That's not meditation. That's a rave.
No, well, actually, I did loan it to some friends that wanted to get off their faces on acid and dance one night. But
did you?
Yeah. I wish I hadn't actually.
I'm surprised you got it back after lending your equipment to such people. You know who you are. I don't know.
Actually, yeah, they're no longer with us.
Oh dear. What, literally?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Sorry, I made a joke at their expense. I didn't know.
It's okay. But these things, like, you know, they're it's to get you into different brainwave state. So
yes.
You know, obviously you've got like alpha, beta,
it's
delta,
but it's not going to stop the pharmaceutical companies want a piece of that action. Right.
Well,
so can you imagine in their marketing meetings,
yeah.
which I understand in the pharmaceutical world, a lot of the meetings are marketing led somehow. They do, the medical side does come in occasionally, but a lot of it is marketing, I believe.
Yeah.
And they might be looking at each other going, this meditation thing seems to be taking off. You've got that Calm app and all these people meditating and seem to be getting some sort of benefit. We can't patent it. And it's probably all sort of, what's it called? Mind over matter. What's that effect called? What's it called when you think it's doing something, it's not actually doing anything? It just placebo. Yes, that would be the masterstroke of the pharmaceutical companies to bring out something called Placebex, the new medication in a pill. And you just take it and sit still for a while, and you think it's the pill that's doing you the good work, when in fact it's just sitting still that's doing you the good work. As Pascal said, I think it's the medicine entertains the patient while nature takes its course. Not with everything, of course, but
it's really important.
Sometimes an intervention is useful. I think when your arm's hanging off, you definitely need a doctor.
There are times,
and a surgeon,
definitely,
preferably.
I mean, there are times when I definitely want to be going to hospital for things.
Yes.
And I also recognise that the best thing you can do to get well is to feel good.
Yes. How about that? So in many ways, we could get sponsored by a pharmaceutical company here because we're a feel-good show.
Yeah, well,
and we could have
I don't want
Gumpex.
I don't.
Gumpex.
That sounds awful. I don't actually want any pharmaceuticals coming sniffing around here. Thank you very much. I like what James has just said. Can't patent healthy food either, and yet. And yet, there are lots of diets that are encouraged by the powers that be, and there are lots of food processing places that have burnt to the ground or somehow being destroyed across Europe and across America in these last couple of years. And also, there's a lot of anti-meat lobbying right now, and the patenting of bug technology and
coincidence theorist. Sorry, conspiracy theorist.
But people have been talking about this for years, but bugs are hitting the tables now. I think they have been put in things like crisps and really? They're starting to just bring in some bug-based flours and things and putting them in.
Let's just go straight to the bug pills. There's no point pretending it's food. Just go straight to the Bugex, Bugaton, or something like that. Take 3 Bugaton before eating. And don't even take them after a meal because you're not having meals anymore. Exactly. You're just taking Bugaton direct. Now, what's this? Bad our food was. He's got all Yoda-esque. Bad our food was. I'm sure there's more context to that.
Yeah, there's a comment above.
Yes, but I like that. Bad our food was. Okay, well, this is so rude. How rude is this? 4 minutes past 9, and we still haven't welcomed Cátia Lima onto the screen. Let's give her a nice big round of applause. Well, hey! Good morning to you, Cátia.
Good morning. How are you? I can't hear you.
Yeah, we haven't got any sound from. I started off badly with sound this morning. I through a tin can. We had a little bit of a click of something or other there. That was a fantastic face. That was the no sound face. There you go.
Without the sounds, okay. So let me just adjust here my sound.
Better than when I started this morning. I can hear myself.
Good. Okay.
We got a nice echo. It may be that you need to turn your volume down a tad.
Or have headphones.
Pop some earbuds in.
Yeah, maybe. I had a headphone, but they're not. Give me just a second. I'll get different ones. Okay, sorry.
Okay, there she goes. She's just adjusting.
So Pete's saying, read the comment above. So
right. James, you'll have to try the meat and vegetables. Yeah, of course. Local produce, say, Pete. The difference in texture, flavour and taste is just astounding. It makes us realise
how bad our food was.
Okay, bad our food was.
Yeah.
All right. And Carl H is in as well. Bugs in crisps made in China? No. I imagine they'll be made all over the world soon.
Yeah.
Won't they? But can we come up with make that a bit more appetising? I think, what would be the bug equivalent of cheese and onion or salt and vinegar? I wonder. Or my favourite, what we call fart crisps here, the prosciutto e ovos flavour from Intermarché. They are fantastic. If you open them in the car with all the kids,
it does smell like someone's guffed.
It does, doesn't it? Love that flavour. So, any suggestions for bug-themed crisps? Pop those in the chat as well. Good morning to you, Cátia.
Hello, bon dia.
That's perfect.
That is perfect.
Okay.
How lovely to see you. How have you been? Tudo bem?
Been okay. Yeah, tudo bem. Busy. As usual.
Busy. And how was your Christmas?
It was okay, yes. I got to go up north after Christmas.
And I know you love it there, right?
Yeah, I went to Gires.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Which part of the north?
Gires.
Oh, yes. I think that is it fair to say that's your spiritual home or one of them?
Yeah, it is one of them. Yes, one
One
of
of them.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lovely. Gires. Oh, just the sound of it, Mrs. M. Gires. We must go there again.
I just like the smell of it. You
The
know,
smell
the
of
smell of
Gires.
like the pine and eucalyptus and the big laundry factory. I just love the smell of it.
The big laundry factory.
Yeah, there was when we arrived, there was this lovely smell of soap.
Oh, I see.
There's
Yes.
a big factory in the centre that we
Right,
walked past from our hostel.
Oh, that's right. Where
Where they were doing
talking
like
of
loads
bugs.
and loads of laundry.
But I've just had this terrible thought, Cátia and
What?
Louisa.
No.
That was the first time we saw a praying mantis being fried on one of those blue lights.
Yeah.
So Portugal, way ahead. 5 years ago, they were cooking bugs in cafes.
Do you know what? It's not a completely new thing. I had a Brazilian girl live with me for a while when I was in the UK, and they eat worm burgers.
Right.
So,
okay. Worm burgers. That
Yeah.
sounds very proteinous, actually, but not entirely, as you say, Cátia. Not entirely. Those things. Now, before we go any further, let us say that none of us are doctors here, and I've taken great pains to say cold cures with bunny ears. So if you do get cured or feel better from taking any of the things Cátia will be talking about this morning, it is an absolute coincidence. Okay. And we can't take any credit or seek any promotion within the medical departments of any universities in Portugal. Although a call from them would be nice to go in and talk about our coincidental interventions. Cátia, this sounded so great when you mentioned it to me. The sort of thing grandma might suggest, right? And we had a
yes.
earlier on. So yeah, what was on your mind when you suggested this idea? Is it the time of year?
Yeah, at the time of year, and the fact that I had a really bad cough in December, so things just sort of came together, for this subject. Yeah.
Excellent.
And it was not just that; it was also the I remember that probably there would be at least some expats living here in Portugal who would be going through something similar, and then probably someone would just hand them over a Dr. Bayard cough drop or something like that, and to help with this sort of thing. It's something that just a few things that we do here. So it's part of it's kind of a cultural tidbit.
It's fantastic. It's a great idea. Very seasonal, very helpful. A lot of culture in there as well, obviously. Yeah. And we are big fans of the Dr. Bayard. I mean, James here takes his name from our fascination with the Bayard production line. Now, has anybody got that? James, have you still got that picture that you could send me? Because it's not on my picture deck anymore. But that lady wrestling with a massive slab of lozenge. You remember that? Which looked like a banana slug, and that we riffed on that whole thing to this very day. And I do like to keep a Dr. Bayard lozenge in my pocket, like any good Portuguese granddad might. And after a while in your pocket, they go a bit soft, don't they? But I'm sure
and they glue to everything, inside your pocket or your purse.
Now, does that increase their potency as a medicine? The granddad blessing.
I think probably a lot of us have eaten those candies anyway. I mean, we're still around, so I don't really think, unless it has a lot of hair in it or something like that, I wouldn't surprise you. But
the hairy Bayard. No, not Bloom. That is not another one.
The extra strong ones.
Extra strong hairy Bayards for that really difficult cold. Okay, wow, that's brilliant. Loving the sound of this. And some of these have got a little bit of booze in, which we're not entirely surprised to hear here in Portugal. Okay. Yes, wine and steak with a cold doesn't sound very nice. Okay, so we need to get rid of the cold, and we had Sir Lion H dropping in with this earlier on. Cátia, look at this. Was this part of your repertoire this morning?
Actually, no, but it's a good call. I didn't remember this one. Yeah. What it means is, it doesn't have to be literal. A vinhete comes from the word vinho, wine.
Yep. Yes.
Right. And from a time when people, wine was something that was supposed to give you strength, make you really like a tonic. Yeah. A bifet comes from the word bife, which is steak, meaning not literally eat a steak, but eat well.
Eat well, yes.
Yeah.
Beef yourself up.
Yeah. Abafete comes from the word abafo, which is something that you wrap around like a scarf or a coat, something like keep yourself warm.
Yeah,
that's basically what it means.
Yeah, what a lovely suggestion. And this may well, of course, come from grandma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That could be one of our merchandise lines, I think. It's something with that little phrase on it. That is fantastic. So, okay, take it away then. What have you got for us? And actually, before you do take it away, let me make sure that we've got your blog address, because people can read more about this and connect to you via beyondlisbon.wordpress.com, which I will put into the comments now so that people can see your wonderful work over there. So sorry, back to you, Cátia. What should we get in our cupboards for the winter?
Well, first of all, I'd like to start with a few language trivia, which is always helpful. Yes, I was when I came up with this with the language bits, I was thinking in particular about elderly neighbors. I know a lot of expats have elderly Portuguese neighbors, so to avoid a lot of or at least some confusion, so some
yes.
Some of the language tidbits. One of them would be the word mesinha. A mesinha, it's a word that means basically an old wife's remedy.
Yes.
So again, the kind of thing that grandma would tell you to do. And it's a word that you also may come across in a few online articles, like something like mesinhas para o inverno, mesinhas para a tosse. That's what it means. Mesinha means this. It's kind of homemade remedy.
Very good.
Yeah. Chá de limão is something that I can, as I explained on the blog post, I can clearly picture it in my head. Someone saying, coughing in front of their neighbor, or sniffing or sneezing, or whatever. And the lady saying, muito chazinho de limão, lots of lemon tea, which is something, it's just like I would say, the go-to homemade medicine in Portugal for anything that's cold related, lemon tea.
Yes.
Which is also something you can get in cafes. If you ask for a lemon tea or a carioca de limão, they'll bring the lemon peel with hot water and you get yourself a lemon tea. It's something very common. You can even get them. Sorry.
You guys use peel, don't you? Like when we make a lemon tea, we would cut up a bit of lemon and squeeze the juice in. But I remember the first time I had a lemon tea here, just with the fragrant peel, and it was much nicer. It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
People were having that at our meetup yesterday. I think many people, once they're switched onto that and make that transition from a big wedge of lemon inside the tea to the lemon peel, which presumably contains a lot of the active ingredients. Well, you could mix it up. You could have both, couldn't you? But I see that people have, once they've made the transition, stick with it. There are regulars at our meetup who have the lemon tea. So could you give the two names again of the lemon tea?
Chá de limão, that's lemon tea. And you can, and if you go to a cafe, you can either ask for a chá de limão or a carioca de limão, which is basically the same thing.
Carioca. What does that mean, literally, carioca?
Carioca is someone that comes from São Paulo. I don't know how that ended up in Portuguese cafe vocabulary. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
If you go, you don't know, but we have these Brazilian cartoons. I don't know if they're still around. And one of the characters was a green parrot from São Paulo. He was called Zé Carioca. So.
Yes. Oh, I've seen that. I have seen that. Yes, absolutely.
With a straw hat, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
All I saw was a still. We were waiting for Zé Carioca to come onto the screen. It's almost like he's got a placeholder before his show starts. That rings a bell. That's amazing, isn't it?
How that ended up in Portuguese cafe vocabulary, I have no clue.
I love it. Isn't it fantastic? Nobody expected that, did they? But there you go. There you go. Oh, we just quick greetings before he leaves the train, which he might do. Darren J is on the way to Manchester to the Portuguese embassy up there, I believe. So we're wishing you luck and have a safe journey from Simon as well. GMP VIP, we salute you and all the best. Boa sorte with your meeting. With the Portuguese government, that wing of the Portuguese government up there. Good luck with that, Darren, this morning. Okay, so yes, carioca, Zé Carioca, and carioca de limão would be green. It's
basically no, carioca de limão is basically a lemon tea with a lemon peel and hot water, and that's it.
That is
you can
great.
Either have it, you can either have it in the big cups that we use for made light.
Yes.
Or in the smaller ones that we get for the bica, the espresso.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. Oh, hi, Cátia. You're getting some
Hi,
greetings
Frank.
this morning. I thought it was Frank the way things were going with the cut of his jib in there. And yes, thank you, Antonio F. Carioca de Limão. It's small lemon tea on an espresso cup or very similar. Or you can go grande with
Carioca de limão grande. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. That is a great start, and I urge people to try that at this time of year, and of course to practice their skills, their Portuguese language skills in the cafe. So there you go. Very good start there. The lemon tea.
I'm going to have to clear off.
No. Okay, busy
but
days,
I'm gonna watch later, or actually I'll listen downstairs while I'm
chip in. I'm sure you won't be able to contain yourself when you hear some of the things that are being shared.
This is right up my street. I love this kind of thing, Cátia. So thank you very much for bringing it up as a great idea. So lots of love to everyone, and have a great day.
See you later, Mrs. M. There she goes. Important thing to do in the house today. I'm still waiting for the washing machine repairman to come, aren't we? I might ask you about that as well, Cátia. Sorry. Chá de limão, obrigado. Yes, definitely. Or actually, a milky coffee with an aguardente in would be just as good, because I think we might be talking about that as well this morning. So yes, what else have you got for us, Cátia?
The last language tidbit is a bit of a tricky one. It's like this. In Portuguese, we usually use two words when we're talking about colds and flus. Right. And they are, we have gripe, of course. That's and then we have resfriado and constipação. So what happens here is that it will often happen that some Portuguese people, while they're learning, their English skills are not that good. And they're talking to someone, who's a so-called native speaker, and they'll say, instead of saying, I have a flu, I have a cold, I'm feeling under the weather, they'll say, I'm constipated.
Yes.
Which, of course, sometimes lends itself to, I've seen this happen, people being a bit obnoxious. So, if you're on the native English speaker side of things, just please remember that maybe you also make mistakes in Portuguese.
Exactly.
And you're speaking about your own language skills. So,
Yes.
Why be obnoxious when you can just laugh it off and explain that's not the right word?
Yes. When you finish laughing, do explain yourself, basically.
Yeah.
Because I saw that, and it really made me giggle, I have to admit, in the cafe. Those great big posters that have got all the coffees of Portugal on them, and people stick to 4 or 5 basic coffees, but there are like 20 or 30, aren't there, that you could possibly order in a cafe, I think. And one of them I said was Café Constipado. And I think that was a kind of a weird translation thing, because it was actually a cold coffee, like an affogato. It was a coffee with ice cream in it. So you can see how they got to that, right? The Café Constipado.
Yes.
Not quite right, is it? But it made me giggle. And if you were to ask for that,
I've never seen it.
It's not okay. I've still got a photo. I'll send you the photo. If you were to ask for that in a cafe now, if someone is trying their chá de limão this morning and goes back tomorrow and asks for a Café Constipado, what are they likely to get?
A big clueless face, I think.
God only knows.
Yes.
A big clueless face. Okay, fair enough. Don't try that at home or anywhere else. Affogato. On that note, what is the proper Portuguese way to ask for a coffee shot on ice cream? With that coffee congelado, I guess. Yeah,
because we don't have a specific name for it, so we don't usually do it. That's why it has an Italian name, right? So, if you want something like that, you just ask for, you have to explain what it is, like a coffee with a scoop of ice cream inside. Café com uma bola de gelado.
Yeah, okay, all right. And I will admit that a McDonald's is quite a good place to improvise it as well. Okay, first thing in the morning, café com cheirinho. That's got to be Frank. And just back from Madeira, a coffee with milk in a large cup is called a chinesa there. Why would that be, Cátia?
I have no clue. Some of these things are...
Yeah, brilliant. Catherine's with us as well. Thank you for the welcomes. You are most welcome, Catherine. Sorry, I didn't see you come in. Great to have you here. And some common diaphoretics. What are they? Include ginger, garlic, burdock root, tea tree oil, cayenne pepper, cinnamon, rosemary, and peppermint. Is that where we're going now then? More into the herbals after that lovely introduction there, Cátia?
Yes. A few of those things are used here traditionally. Others not. The thing is, I have to say, I'm just pointing out a few of the most common, of course, because if you go to different regions, you'll probably find, variations on this or specific recipes to a specific region, that sort of thing. So I'm just pointing out a few of the most common things that we use all over the country.
Okay,
but
great.
yeah, cinnamon, for example, we love cinnamon in Portugal.
Yes, don't you?
So
Jess?
that's yes. So that will also be present in common cold cures. Yes. And
Okay,
cough.
that'd be canela, of
Yeah,
course.
canela. Yeah.
Canela, which while we're on the subject, I mean that's on the countertop there, isn't it, to be sprinkled onto your pastéis generally, right? But other uses as well. Anything you say.
Well, not everything, not anything, but
Along with your garden.
a lot of people use it, for example, with morning coffee and milk, or on yogurt as well. That sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay, and what an amazing thing! I mean, the amount of canela cinnamon that Portugal must consume each year must be good for somebody's exports.
Yes.
It's not something
Yeah,
that's...
I don't know. The other day, when I was writing this, I was thinking to myself, how, of all the spices that we traded centuries ago, why was cinnamon the one that we kept, closest and we used the most? Why? I'm guessing that at some point cinnamon must have been really cheap.
Oh, you think so?
I think so. Otherwise, why wouldn't we use? I mean, we use other spices as well, mostly in desserts. But why is it that we, prefer cinnamon so much over all other spices? That's something. Even, and this is what really gets to me. Even in the most popular poor man's food kind of desserts. Where you don't get lots of sugar, for example, so they use what we call erva doce, which is, I believe that's anise seeds. They give a sweet taste without adding a lot of sugar, because people couldn't buy a lot of sugar. I mean, I'm talking about, the average Zé.
Average Zé, yeah. Well, if somebody knows...
somehow cinnamon made its way to those kind of sweets and desserts as well, which baffles me. I don't know. So I'm guessing at some point it must have been really cheap.
I just love it. I love how these things happen. It's like what we were saying about carioca, right? You wouldn't expect that to happen, would you? But there it is in the culture now, embedded in the culture. Similarly with, and I'm sure people have written and researched about the impact of cinnamon and canela on Portuguese culture. Ana Lucia is with us as well. Have you chatted about the RSV virus? We had a really good chat about the Kraken coming in, but not the RSV. I'm not sure what that is. It's really doing its rounds globally in the hospitals here in the UK. The hospitals are packed with people suffering from this flu. I believe Portugal has many cases of the same. Not heard about that, Ana Lucia, but thank you for coming here with your good news about new viruses. How are you? We absolutely love the way you get cinnamon sticks with your coffee as well. So not just in the powdered form, but you might get a cinnamon stick as well. Other uses for those, if you have them, do stick them in the chat. An espresso used to be called a cimbalino in Porto because the first coffee machines from the La Cimbali brand as well. We love all of this. We love all of these cultural insights. And a question for you already, Cátia. What is this? Pele cura comum para tosa. What does that mean?
Common cure for a cough. I will be addressing the topic of cough in my list of.
Will be
things.
okay. Good. Okay, for those tossers, we could call them, couldn't we? People with coughs at the moment. Yes, maybe we shouldn't. But yes, sorry. Carry on. I don't want to pull you away from you working through your
that's okay.
efficiently and systematically through your list there. So we've done some lovely linguistics. If you only just joined us, it's worth watching the replay to hear about some of the linguistic insights that Cátia had for us. And now we're into talking about the herbs and the spices. Really, it's a spice, really, isn't it, rather than a herb, the canela? So do carry on.
Okay, so the first one would be the one that I've already mentioned. Sorry. Lemon tea, of course. That's the go-to cure for everything that's cold and cough related. Anything, wintertime boo-boos. That would be the first one. Lemon tea. We also love to add a little bit of honey. We have several places in Portugal that produce honey, so that's something that you'll find all over the country, pretty much.
And that will be mel, won't it?
Mel,
Mel.
yeah.
Okay.
It's I wrote it on the blog. So chá de limão com mel, lemon tea with
Brilliant.
honey. Yeah.
And I understand it's good to have local honey.
Yeah.
For those of you who would entertain the fact that what you eat locally connects you locally and has perhaps some of the beneficial, whatever they are, ingredients in there that I mean, certainly for people with hay fever, it's suggested the local honey because it's got the pollens in it that act in a kind of maybe in a homeopathic or immune stimulation way, and almost like a natural inoculation with that. So mel, always good, I think, to support the local honey producers. Mel, as in mellifluous, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. There you go.
Good, very good bit of Latin there.
Thank you.
From there we go to the Dr. Bayard cough drops.
Yes.
They're usually aimed at, or I'd say above all, aimed at coughs, toss. But when you get a cough and you get a cold, sometimes there's a bit of mixed there of symptoms. So I've seen people who use them as well when they have a cold, in the sense that somehow it helps them with breathing in a way that some people do that with mint, lozenges, that sort of thing.
Yes.
They have a very interesting history.
They do.
They do, yeah. I've linked. I can put the link here to
please. That's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, this is the image we have that really blew us away a couple of years ago.
Yeah, no, but the way the whole thing started, I don't know if you ever read about it. It started with the friendship between a Portuguese man and a French man who was a doctor, Dr. Bayard, living in Portugal during the Second World War. Well, long story short, you can read about it on a link that I sent you.
Brilliant.
Long story short, after the war, he got back, and as a sort of reward, friendship token to his Portuguese friend, he taught him how to make these cough drops. And the factory is still open today. They still produce around 600 tons of these drops today, these candies.
Incredible, huh? Incredible.
Yeah.
And there it is. I mean, there's the timeline. I love these timelines. Sometimes we get these when we're doing the wine club, and we will have a timeline like this of a story behind a wine. But this is fantastic, isn't it? There's the production team there in the factory in 2020, and the Matthias family in 2021 there. The history continues from generation to generation. So we'll make sure that everybody has that link. How beautiful. I mean, that 1969 factory would have been so modern looking in its time, wouldn't it? And they would have been so proud to have had that. And that looks like the great friendship between the two men that you mentioned there. And it is a Lisbon-based operation, is it, a factory?
Yeah, it's in Amadora. It's in the suburbs of Lisbon.
Amadora, there you go. Lovely bit of culture there and history. Thank you very much. Other lozenges and rebusados are available, right?
Sorry?
Other lozenges and or rebusados, as they're called, I think, here, are available. I mean, there are many, aren't there, in Portugal? Lots of different. I think the Bayard genre, the lozenge genre, has spawned many competitors over the years.
Yeah, I think is that there was some kind of candies that used to be made but not used in any way connected to illnesses. I don't know if you've ever been to Régua, for example. That's on the margin of the Douro River, the north margin of the Douro River. It's right, in wine country.
Yeah.
And they make a kind of candy that's typical there with honey. And today you go to the supermarkets, and right next to Dr. Bayard and mint drops, you'll see like honey candies as well. That's sort of not the traditional kind, but that sort of candy as well. So I'm guessing maybe we already had something like that, but not used in exactly the same way, or not as widespread as Dr. Bayard's candies later became.
They're everywhere, aren't they? It's amazing. And what's interesting to me, I do like it when we make something of this being indie Portugal Thursday. This is an independent company. I don't think, as far as I can tell, it doesn't seem to have succumbed to a corporate takeover.
No,
This is independent, right?
no,
Which is a fantastic thing. And if you're in a Portuguese supermarket, you will see the infiltration of halls now, won't you? The global brand halls that are,
And we color from Switzerland, stuff like that.
yes, that's right. And these are, they're fair enough. They may have a flavor or a particular combination that you like, but I would really urge people to try the Portuguese lozenges. Dr. Bayard for one, and many others. If you have a little delve into the sweet aisle, you'll see other lozenges on the shelves there.
Yeah, the mint ones also very common, very popular.
Yeah, they're great fun to try, and I think it's lovely to support a traditional Portuguese brand wherever possible. And Dr. Bayard just absolutely epitomizes that, it would seem.
Yeah, and it's I have to say they use it's not just a candy, they use a mix of medicinal herbs. And it does work. I know I'm a suspect for saying this, but it does work. I'm not going to say it works with every kind of cough, obviously, but it does work. I remember the first time that I consciously had one. I was maybe around 8 or 9 years old. I had this nasty cough, and my mother handed me a Dr. Bayard. And she told me, looking back now at this, it feels like a commercial,
Yes, it is, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, she handed me one, and she said, "Look, take one of these. It will help you with a throat and with that cough." And I was like, my mom giving me candy to help with throat and cough, but it did help because it creates this sort of barrier on your throat. And then I'm guessing the herbs do their magic as well. So yes.
Well, and a mother's love. There's a lot in there, isn't there? There is the care, the love, the history. I think it all works. It all adds up.
Yes, of course.
And makes the experience there, which is lovely. And I can see that advert in soft focus music.
Yeah. The handing out.
I don't know what their strap line is, but it would be the Portuguese guy at the end, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
From
yes,
Dr. Bayard, from mother to child.
Awesome.
Yes, and then there's a little flashback picture of a grandma in the top corner looking down on them both.
Giving them another approval.
Yes, let's get in touch with Dr. Bayard later on today. Couto. There's another independent brand. I must get it on our website, actually. Couto Pasta Dente Frica. That's an independent Portuguese toothpaste. Does that have, for those people who like to avoid fluoride, does it avoid the fluoride?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, they don't have fluoride. Yeah.
Interesting. Portuguese toothpaste there. That's great. Going back to cinnamon, Cátia, Portuguese sailors returned home with new spices and flavors. Cinnamon was affordable and its distinct aroma caught on. And again, it's, there's something about fragrances, isn't there? And it must have been amazing for when the sailors returned home and they smelt of cinnamon, or they brought that back with them. That would have been wired into the culture at that point, wouldn't it? The other way around, Goan Indian vindaloo curry is inspired by Portuguese dishes marinated with the vinha d'Alhos. I didn't know that. There is the origin of vindaloo, vinha d'Alhos. Vinha d'Alhos. Amazing. Excellent stuff.
That's a mix of red wine and garlic. Obviously salt and pepper and all that, and you use it to marinate meat, basically.
Isn't that incredible? Thank you, Frank. I'm sure that's Frank now with that kind of talk in there. Superb. Love that. Thank you very much, Frank. We've got some other, I'm sure you've got more for us, and we've also we have some who knew, or what we're calling Ugo Nuno, and some deep thoughts of the day, which we were distracted from earlier on. And if I may, throw open the phone lines as well in just a moment after we've done this, Cátia. This is Coach Turner earlier on. Bon dia, all you lovely gumpers. Status update from my boozy lunch yesterday. I don't think you can claim all of that was medicinal. Regret. Had a lovely time with friends, among friends, which finished at 10 in the evening. Yes, it did get messy, as you predicted. Can recommend Boysdale's in Belgravia. That sounds very posh and lovely, Coach Turner. I was walking with one of my granddaughters the other day, and we started skipping. He probably can't remember it, but he was probably skipping with his friends through Belgravia last night as well. It's one of the exercises that I do as part of my warm-up routine and uses most of the leg muscles. So as well as bursting into a fartlek intermittent style run when you're walking or a quicker jog, why not add some skipping into a walk to provide a little extra effort and fun? And do send us the videos. We had some proper Portuguese from James. Bom dia, Gambers. Feliz quinta todos. Tudo bem? Thank you very much. And deep thought from then Ursula K. Leguin. There have been great societies that did not use the wheel, but there have been no societies that did not tell stories. Now, both of us can appreciate that as sometime
Yeah.
writers, can't we? That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Portuguese saying of the day, I'm glad you're here, Cátia. Até ao lavar dos cestos a vindima, even the washing of the baskets is vintage. What does that mean?
No, that's not. Meaning, no. It's we use that expression for things like when you're doing something, you're going through a process, and someone says something that's trying to, get to conclusions quickly, and you say, "Até ao lavar dos cestos é vindima," meaning, chill, we haven't finished yet, so don't skip to conclusions yet. Don't
conclusions. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Cesta, it's the basket, right? The
Yes.
basket that people use to gather the grapes when they're harvesting grapes for wine. And
Yes.
vindima is the word for the grape harvesting season.
Okay, so don't jump
It's
to
not
conclusions.
vintage. Yeah.
It's not over till it's over.
Yeah, exactly.
Until the basket is washed as well. Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. Thank goodness you were here this morning for that one. Don't anticipate the end of something specifically. Do not give up hope either until you've actually lost or failed. Okay, that's great. Who knew? Women in Portugal live more than 6 years longer than men. That will be on average, not automatically. Portugal has a greater health gender gap than most other highly developed countries. We will throw open the phone lines, but not until Cátia has delivered all her delightful information to us. But you might want to talk about this. According to 2020 data from Statistics Portugal, life expectancy at birth in Portugal is 78 and a little bit for men, and 83 and nearly 84 for women. What, as a commentator on Portuguese culture and as a Portuguese person yourself, why would you think that women live longer and there's such a stark gap here in Portugal, Cátia?
Well, I think we have to look at that generation, and you will easily realize that men still have a lot more of a reckless behavior towards their health in general.
It's that, is it? It's like Darwinism.
And most women from that generation, you will not see them smoking, drinking, or at least not drinking heavily or on a regular basis.
Yes.
All of that sort of thing. So all of that contributes to, and also men from that generation, they would, in most cases, have had really, physically demanding jobs as well. So all of that contributes to this gap. I'm sure that in my generation, or even not so much my parents, that's my parents' generation, pretty much, more or less.
Yes.
But in my generation, I'm pretty sure it will be less. There will be less of a gap.
I think you're right. That makes a lot of sense. And yeah, if you want to comment on that, 913-590-303. Not just yet, though. Michael and Catherine are here. Bon dia, says Michael. During our last visit, we found my favourite cough.
Oh.
I'm not keen. Are you
No.
not keen?
No, you saw my no.
Yeah. Sucking on a fisherman's friend is not for us, Michael Whitby. Now, I'm glad you managed to find them, but is there an equivalent Portuguese, or is that just not a flavour that's found here in Portugal?
I don't know. I think the closest would be mint drops, and they're not even close to fisherman's friend.
Not, are they? What is it? What is that flavour in a fisherman's friend that is really just blows your head off? Good morning. Just stopping in, says Sarah. This is a lease signing day where we get to not be homeless for another year. I'm pleased for you. But you know where we are, in dire need, Sarah. No one in the Gumper community need be homeless, right? Once we get the word out. But I'm glad to hear that for you. And Catherine, we did have a message from Catherine, didn't we, earlier on? Oh, I think it's back in Portugal. This is great. Bon dia alegria. Catherine and Michael just arrived to Sesimbra, lovely part of Portugal from the US.
It is.
I hope that you fully recovered from the blaze that was there last year. So lovely to be back in Portugal. Welcome back, both of you. Back to you, Cátia, then, in this list of cold cures, in inverted commas, we're not doctors, and the sort of things grandmas might administer to the rest of the family.
The next one I'm talking about is not in any way meant to treat per se, but it's more of a tonic.
Okay.
And if you talk to Portuguese people over the 40, 50, who are over 40 or 50 years old, you'll get. I'm betting you'll get a lot of nice replies on this one, which is something called gemada. That
Gemada.
comes from gemada. I'm going to write it down. So it's on the
Thank you.
blog post.
Yeah.
Comes from the word gema, which is the egg yolk.
Oh.
And yeah, it's something. It's where you get. I mentioned the age thing because a lot of people, when they were kids, they used to. We all did that. We used to pretend that we had a fever, we're not feeling so well, so that we got,
Really?
yeah, moms or grandmothers to make one of these for us. Basically, you get a bowl, and you get an egg yolk, and you whip it with a fork until it's really nice and frothy. And you can add sugar. If you want to make it extra traditional, add a little bit. Instead of white sugar, use what we call açúcar amarelo, brown sugar, because that's what people used to use back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
When white sugar was for, white sugar was for rich people, so most people would use yellow sugar, what we call yellow sugar. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So add a little bit of sugar. Just you need to be really frothy and almost like pale yellow sort of color. And then, depending on who will be drinking this, I'm sorry, you may add a little bit of port, of course, because this is Portugal.
Of course.
And a little bit. I would not advise it for kids, of course. Disclaimer. It's a raw egg. You do whatever you want. Okay. Disclaimer, please. I'm just telling you what it is. I'm not saying go
You
ahead.
should do it. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And of course, if you want to also have an extra Portuguese touch, add a little bit of cinnamon powder, and that's it.
Beautiful. So could you just go through that one more time? So we're starting with a whipped egg yolk, right?
Yes. Yeah. Whip it with a fork until it's nice and frothy.
Yeah.
Add a little bit of sugar. Yellow sugar, what we call açúcar amarelo, brown sugar would be best, I think.
Yeah.
And then you have the added steps to make it extra Portuguese, which can be a little bit of port and or a little bit of cinnamon powder to the mix.
Very good. That sounds wonderful. And this is where the booze is coming in, isn't it? Lemon
it's
peel.
One of the places. Yeah.
One of them, lemon peel rubbed around the rim of the glass with sweet muscat from Setúbal. It just reminds me of the summer and must be a cure for something. Yes, definitely. So have you got another boozy one for us?
Yes, I have two more. Although they're similar.
Okay, gemada.
Okay, so
then. That's what that was.
Yeah, it's delicious. Again, please, I don't want to offend anyone or anything, but it's. You will come across a lot of people saying, yes, I did fake, being ill so that I could get a gemada. So, yeah.
Very good.
When I was a kid.
I might try that. Mrs. M's not watching at the moment, so I might try that after the show.
Okay, so the next one is something I never tried myself, but I've seen it made when I was a kid quite often. Well, not quite often, a few times. And it's like this. You grab a heat-proof bowl, okay, whatever, it's ceramics or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you put inside a glass of aguardente, not a shot of, a glass of, because of the proportions, you'll see what I mean. You need a glass of aguardente. My source tells me it needs to be very good aguardente. Yeah. Okay, whatever that means exactly. I asked her and she told me, well, I used to get some from my co-workers who lived in central Portugal, and when they went there to visit their families around Christmas and all of that and Easter, they would bring back some bottles of aguardente. That's the one I used.
Yes.
Okay.
Beautiful. Yeah, excellent.
So you put that, so you have that glass of aguardente in the bowl. You mix about 2 tablespoons of sugar. You mix it, and then you set the whole thing on fire. Do not use a lighter for this, obviously. Okay. What happens? I saw this happen a few times in the living room with the lights out, and it's amazing with the blue light. Like, yeah.
Okay, I'm more worried about that. You know, we got disclaimers this morning. I'm more worried about that. I'm more worried about that than I am people eating egg yolk. Honestly,
this is a disclaimer show.
Yes, definitely. Actually, don't do any of this at home.
No.
Just for information purposes here this morning.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then every now and then,
now on fire.
Yeah. set the whole thing on fire every now and then. Just swirl it a little bit with a spoon to make sure that it's even.
Yeah.
And as soon as the flame dies out, you wait just enough. It should be hot, but you don't want to burn your tongue. So
No.
you have to drink it hot, and then you tuck into bed the abifati and the buffet from that
Yes.
saying. Remember?
And you're all set.
You tuck into bed, and you'll be sweating like. I was going to say sweating like a pig. That's not very cute, but you'll be sweating a lot.
You get the idea. Okay.
Yes. And that's the purpose. It's like let's think of it like a portable do-it-yourself sauna of sorts.
Yes, it's an induced fever almost, isn't it?
The point is to sweat it out.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Before people had, their anti-inflammatories and pharmaceutical drugs, of course, people would be doing this as a way. And
let's face it, it won't have. I doubt it will have any alcohol left in it because it's burning out. So.
But that will be, some people will be saying, okay, I think we should put the flames out now because they do want some of the. Don't overdo it over there. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. A variation of that's the gemada with the sugar, adding a black beer, a stout in there. And yeah, that's thought of to have medicinal properties, isn't it? Like the Guinness sorts of brews, and keep it in the refrigerator for a while. How long do you mean for a while, Antonio? That's an energetic drink. This is lovely, isn't it? And my mum used to make a version of the gemada with honey, rosewater, and rum, protein and alcohol. Beauty! Says Frank there. I love grated ginger with the outer skin. Yes, we haven't talked much about gingembre this morning, have we? A spoonful or two of fresh lemon and tablespoons of honey works like a bomb. Keeps any flu at bay. Nice one. You need to tell them this with the RSV. I'm off to hospital as I have to visit someone there. The corridors are full with people on trolleys waiting for a bed. Terrible situation. Yeah. My sister is in pharmaceuticals in Portugal, and she says in all the laboratories in Portugal hospitals, she says the hospitals, they're the same with people in the corridors. RSV flu is very contagious, and wear masks. It affects children and the elderly the most. Sounds like a good application of the mask wearing there in the hospitals of the world right now. And hi, Cátia, as well. I think there might be a different Facebook user there this morning. I'd like to have a bit of a phone-in action. Is now the time, Cátia, or did you want to share more with us before we do that?
Can I just wrap up? It will be the last one.
Of course. Yeah, your prerogative. It's you that's with us every year.
There's just one left, so
okay, go ahead.
And it's similar to this one with aguardente, but instead of aguardente, we do it with red wine.
Okay, wow.
And because it doesn't have that much of an alcohol content, instead of doing it in a heat-proof bowl and setting the whole thing on fire, you just basically add the mix of. It's basically the same proportions of 1 glass of red wine to 2 tablespoons of sugar.
Yes.
If you want to add the extra Portuguese touch, you can add a bit of cinnamon bark and some lemon peel. And you just let it boil enough until it gets a syrupy consistency. When you're swirling with a spoon, you get that thick consistency.
Yes.
And it's the same principle. You just wait enough to be able to drink it while it's still hot. Drink it, tuck into bed, and you'll be sweating. And actually, this one reminded me a bit of Glühwein, but thicker.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so I love that winey kind of flavor and aroma to it of boiled wine. Very, very good. Thank you so much. And wouldn't it be great one day that we could actually do some of these live on the screen? Perhaps somebody may step forward to offer that to us as a possibility. Thank you, T-Duck. Smash that like button. I'm going to throw the phone lines. I'm going to heat up those hotlines now. I think we've found out what is in A Fisherman's Friend, which is great. Thank you, Simon, for that. But before we go there, let's play that theme tune and encourage you to call in on 913-590-303. A little bit of a cello strike there, maybe a few violins and violas in there too. The Ode to Joy, signifying that it is time, if you want to call in on 913-590-303. Europe's biggest phone in, Cátia. You're part of it, making history here this morning. And if you thank you. If you have a business, an indie business in the way that we've been talking about before, please let us know. Or if you want to promote one, if you know of an aguardente, we're talking about aguardente, we're talking about wine. If you want to put forward a great wine or aguardente that people can get hold of, now would be the time to do that. The WhatsApp line is open. I prefer a shot of aguardente mixed with 2 shots of that's cheeky, and I can believe it as well. T-Duck there, and yes, this in the Fisherman's Friend is it aniseed then? Aniseed extreme, possibly intense use of aniseed is used in Fisherman's Friends, an extract from the Pimpinella. Pimp my cough sweets. Pimpinella anison plant apiaceae can often be found growing wild on piles of rubble or in vineyards. Isn't that a nice idea? I mean, I have heard this from herbalists that often what your body needs grows locally, as if by magic. And yeah, I think there'll be a bit like the walking on water thing, a little bit of an ounce of truth or something in there along those lines, and good to eat the herbs that grow locally. Not that we do necessarily, flying in food from all over the world, but really, I mean, another really good reason to pop along to the market. And as you get more and more familiar, perhaps, with some of the old ladies and gentlemen who are selling food there, they might introduce you to 1 or 2 of these things, mightn't they, as a bit of a special?
Yeah.
And seasonally, of course, they'll be doing it seasonally.
Yeah.
Caller, we have a caller. You're through to the Good Morning Portugal show, but you've put the phone down on us. We're not keen on these prank calls, are we, Cátia? Where people ring in.
No, bad. Shame.
Yeah, come on, don't do that. Yes, we are ready for callers. A bit of a clue to who that might have just been. And Adega Velia 12 is my favorite. Yeah.
Oh.
That's a great recommendation. Thank you so much for that. And the one that you gave to me for Christmas, T-Duck, that was beautiful. The packaging as well, long, slim bottle in this beautifully made and designed box there. That went down very well with me and Mrs. M at Christmas. Thank you for that. Your favourites, because I think the thing about aguardente, Cátia, is that I think you mentioned before, people have their own special sauces in central Portugal, and you're not going to find them necessarily, are you?
Yeah. I was just thinking about that now, and I'm thinking that maybe those bottles of aguardente that my source got back in the day were homemade. You know, they were probably some kind of domestic production.
Yeah,
I don't think they were bought in any kind of supermarket or shop. So
yeah. But I mean, the ones in the shops would do, wouldn't they? I mean, if you can't get anything else, the ones in the shops.
Yeah.
But
Just watch out for the alcohol content because it's aguardente. So of course,
yes.
It's like, for example, buying medronho from a shop. You'll notice you have the real medronho and have the kind of, I'm going to say watered down medronho for lack of a better expression. And you'll notice they have different alcohol contents.
Okay. All right, that's great. I'm getting some other messages coming in, also on the same number 913-590-303. I think I'll share these tomorrow. And if you're happy about it, Bill and Marcus, who've just got back from Madeira, cable car pitch. I'm going to save these for tomorrow. But 6 amazing days on Madeira Island. Have you been there, Cátia?
No, not yet. No.
Not yet. I like how you've said that. That's a very good affirmation. And the Azores, have you been over there?
No, not yet. I almost went there 2 years ago, but then I didn't get to go. So hopefully soon I will, because I've been dying to go to the Azores.
Absolutely. The best madroña is homemade with no idea of alcohol content.
Yes.
You tell from the effect. Now, people, if let's help Cátia here. If you're talking to travel agents, could you please suggest to them, or the tourist boards of the Azores or Azores or Madeira, that this blogger here that we have with us should be sent there, all expenses paid, basically, to write about these. No, I think it's right. You're a fantastic blogger and contributor.
Thank you.
Well, I was going to say,
you think I could get a sponsorship? I don't know. Maybe.
Why not? Absolutely. Why not? You are an influencer. And well loved in certainly in our community as somebody who helps us understand Portuguese culture and gives us incredible information. Absolutely right. You should be somebody who gets flown to write reviews. I mean, the downside of that, of course, is that you'll be working whilst on holiday.
Yeah.
Could you cope with that?
I think I could cope with that. Yes.
Cope with that. Okay. So yes, if the tourist authorities, boards, marketing people of either the Azores or Madeira are watching, please get Cátia, Beyond Lisbon blogger Cátia Lima over there to write about your wonderful, your paradise basically that you enjoy over there.
Yeah.
Madronio says Antonio F is arbustos. Is that a good one? Is that what? Or is that another name for it?
No, it's it's a butus. It's the Latin name for Madronio.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Which, yeah, I've seen in English you call it a strawberry tree. I don't know why, because it's not a tree, it's a bush and doesn't have any strawberries. I don't know why you call it strawberry tree. But
isn't it because they're like almost like a poor man's strawberry, that fruit? I mean,
yeah, maybe,
but it's nothing like, is it? I mean, you'd be very disappointed if you were a kid and told that that's a strawberry.
Yes.
You run over it and just take a mouthful of those kind of slightly spiky, pasty fruits from the Madronio tree. That would be disappointing. And Madronio is the Algarve moonshine, so that's being enjoyed by Victoria. Good morning to you, Victoria, in the south there. So I don't know what happened to our caller there. You've got a minute or two more to call in if you wish to. Cátia, you've been amazing as usual again this morning. Thank you so much for your information.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. Just a pity that the callers are kind of shy today. Oh,
they are shy, aren't they? Or maybe they were just inspired to go and crack open the aguardente Madronio, and they're in no fit state now to call into the show. Francis sent in greetings as well. He can't join us, but Francis in Cape Town, please send my greetings. Have a massive project I didn't expect. Good for you. All good. Been catching up on some of the episodes. Just got to make hay while the electricity shines in South Africa. They have an awesome show and the rest of the week. We met a Ukrainian couple at our meetup yesterday talking about how their families are they've got 3 hours on, 3 hours off of electricity. So shout out, love to everyone who's struggling under such circumstances around the world. Did you know nothing is a palindrome? Incorrect. Nothing spelled backwards is niton, right, which means nothing. A Trekkie-based visual dad joke there without the warning. Sorry, everybody, for doing dad jokes without the warnings there. And another visual. This is from Bayard. That's a beautiful scene, I think, from central Portugal. That's not him in the picture. But that's one of those like proper Portuguese guys I think you were referring to earlier on, right? Hardworking, right through to the end. Talking of the north, found this fantastic photo of the wife. It's the wife's grandfather, the one whose property we've been sorting out for the last 20 years. That can happen in Portugal, can't it? Old family properties can take a little bit of a while to sort out. But that is Mrs. Bayrandi's grandfather. It was taken near Lija, Amarante, and we should urge people to go to Amarante, shouldn't we? Isn't it beautiful up there?
Beautiful place, yes.
Love that photograph of the cow cart there, cattle truck. No, cattle cart, and those cows look like they've been kneeling knee deep in mud to get that load of whatever it is. It looks like moss, doesn't it? Or maybe it's a massive shipment of mistletoe there. Ready for Christmas. My local cafe has a jug of Madronio under the counter. In Texas, we call that moonshine. Brilliant. I'm leaving that picture up because I absolutely love it. Thank you, Bayard. We have a strawberry tree, and they do look a bit like a strawberry. Yes, that's where it ends, I think. It's just the look. Certainly not the taste. That was fabulous, Cátia. Thank you for the helpful concoctions to try. Be careful if you're doing that.
Yes.
Fire extinguishers at the ready, or out in your outside kitchen, maybe not in your living room with the lights off. Question is, moulin is used for coughs and problems in the chest. I use it often as it grows in such abundance. So, is that a folk cure, moulin, that the plant? Would you know?
I've heard about it, but it's not. Since it's something that I believe does not grow, maybe across the country, but maybe you won't find it everywhere in the country used in that way or in any way at all. But
okay, but it grows abundantly where Fiona is, which is great. Moulin, not to be convinced with Mulan, the Disney character. Question for Cátia then before we go: is there a polite way of saying how much we love our neighbour's donkey and car and how they farm traditionally without sounding patronising in the Tesla? No, there is no way of doing that, is there?
Well, first of all, you need to leave the Tesla, and walk up to your neighbors, and then, really look them in the eye and say that,
Yes.
Without, maybe.
Leave the car at home for that one. Yeah, because if you rock up quietly in the Tesla, because the first thing is they might be a little bit deaf, and if you pull up in the Tesla, they're not going to hear you, are they, in the electric vehicle? So the first thing you're going to do is frighten them out of their skin as you shout out of your Tesla window, "Nice donkey and cart! Have a good day." Walk up to them, look them in the eye, handshake, and we love your donkey and cart there. I travelled in similar carts in my childhood. You are a lucky man, Antonio, to have done that. In Canada, we had Buckley's cough syrup, their motto. Tastes awful, and it works. And it does.
Actually, it's funny that I've read many blog posts from people in the US who had been to Portugal saying that ginginha tastes like cough syrup, which kind of left me puzzled about American cough syrups. Yes.
Get me over there. Okay. Yeah, I understand it, but there are. It's free of some of the more pungent top notes, I think. I do understand why they say. Similarly with Bayard, that attracts the same sort of feedback, doesn't it? That it's like cough syrup, but certainly sounds a lot. I think I'm going to have Bayard over Buckley's every time, from what you say there, Catherine. Our local bar is a hidden bottle of magic medicine made by a local woman. This is what we wanted to hear this morning. This is indie Thursday stuff, isn't it? If anyone is ill, it is offered as a shot free of charge. Isn't that fantastic?
I'm curious. I'm really curious.
Yeah, then we've got hospitals with people on trolleys in the corridors, and then we've got cafes where you can get a free of charge shot of magic medicine. Something's not quite right there. We need to bring these two together and balance it up, I think, a little bit with what's going on that Anna Lucia mentioned to us. Cherries and alcohol, cough syrup in the US. Who doesn't like that combo? Bloody right. Ginginha, the cherry liqueur, and nothing to do with ginger, despite its name there. Yeah. Okay, I've got 3 dad jokes for you. Can I try these on you? Yeah. Okay, all right. I think it's only right that we play the warning. If I can find the warning this morning. Lots of vingles, despite Mrs. M's dislike of them. Over we go.
Warning.
Oh, no! It is quite right. Another disclaimer there, or a warning. This morning. Thank you, everybody, as well, for your wonderful contributions. We love that expression there that you treated us with. A vignette, a bifte, a buffete. We can have it. It does sound like a song. Mrs. M was absolutely right about that. Here we go then. Let's see the look on your face when you hear these, Cátia. A commander walks into a bar and orders everyone around. Very good. Never buy flowers from a monk. Only you can prevent florist friars. Ay, ay, ay. That one definitely needed the warning. And I once worked at a cheap pizza shop to get by. I needed the dough. That is suitably. That is very groany and dad jokey there. That's superb. Good luck to Darren then, who's on his way to Manchester this morning. Let us know how you get on tomorrow morning if you will. And we will be back here on Feel Good Friday with Philomena. Absolutely wonderful. Learning so much about Portuguese culture and language with you, Cátia, and Philomena tomorrow. So thanks again for being brilliant this morning. And let's just mention or give everybody the link to your blog, which everybody should do, and go buy a coffee over there. Yes. I think there's a link to do that on the site there, beyondlisbon.wordpress.com. And the really important reason why I think you should buy Cátia a coffee is so that she's got something to put her aguardente in, right? She needs something for the chirino to go in there. Okay, so thanks everybody, and the rest of your comments I will pop up on the screen as we say goodbye. Cátia, thanks very much. Last word to you.
Thank you so much for having me again on the show.
It's an absolute pleasure. And we look forward to seeing you again next month. Bye for now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Lots of love, everyone. Bye for now. Have a great day. See you tonight on the webinar.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.